Hello and welcome once again to a marketing strategy session. Today I am pleased to have Tamara as Tammy Patzer. Welcome to the show, Tammy.
Thank you. I appreciate your invitation.
Great, great. We are going to talk about some marketing strategies that business grow, and really looking forward to that. Um, Hold on one second, having a little bit of technical challenges here. So we're going to talk about some marketing strategies, and Tammy has helped several companies with marketing strategies on how they can take offline business, work it with their online marketing strategies. She's also helped Chamber of Commerce. She's been very busy and very productive. So thank you again, Tammy. And you can probably expound on your credentials of all the work you've done.
Okay, great. Thank you. Well, as I was introduced, my name is Tamara Patzer, and everybody calls me Tammy, and everybody always says, I don't know, ask Tammy. That's how I became Ask Tammy, because I am an educator advocate for all things mass communications, and my background is in newspapers and video production. So, many years ago when things were actually done in the cut and paste world where you literally cut with a pair of scissors and pasted with glue, that's when I started. It seems like many years ago, but I think I'm lucky that I am at the age where I have been in the world where we did things what would be considered old school or the old-fashioned way. For example, when I was a newspaper editor, I typed my stories on first a manual typewriter and then an electric, and then of course we went to computers. And when I did video production back in the day, video actually meant video tape, and it was black and white.
Wow.
And we went from black and white video to color to now digital. And one of my big claims to fame is in the late 80s, I had one of the very first real estate television shows. And I laugh because at that time, it cost me $2,500 to buy a scanner, a microtext
Wow.
scanner, and today, look at, we have this, and we can scan whatever with our phone. We can take high definition video with our phone. We can do so many things with our mobile devices. So the reason why I'm really excited that you invited me here today to talk about how to integrate old school or traditional media, which would be newspapers, magazine, radio, television, direct mail,
Mhm.
into what we call new media,
Mhm.
which is video online, direct mail, email online, uh, landing pages, websites, all of these different online tools.
Mhm.
So it's kind of daunting for a lot of people because many businesses, even though it's 2014, as we record this, they still haven't grasped the concept of what a website really is, or how they can get a website, or how to use social media as a
Mhm.
marketing tool. So we could take our conversation in many different directions today.
Wow, that is taking it from old marketing to new marketing, and there are several companies that are still doing it the old way. I don't know if they're typing on typewriters, but they are still
Handwriting.
looking at, yeah, they are handwriting. So let's look at some of the challenges. I mean, what are some of the challenges that you've run across, especially with old, I would say, marketing mindset, with old way of thinking of marketing and the new, and is it wrong? I mean, some of the old ways are there because they worked.
Right. Well, that's the first thing that everyone needs to realize is if it works, keep doing it. I
Okay.
never ever say stop doing what works. What I do say is if you are, let's use newspapers as an example. I
Mm-hmm.
come from the newspaper world, so I'm very familiar with it. Let's say that you're running an ad in the newspaper. You have to know how to measure it.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's working for you, and let's say that you put an ad in and you get 10 people coming in your door, and each one of those people, buys something from you,
Mm-hmm.
and you can measure that. If you want to measure it even better, hey, why not add a telephone tracking number into that ad? That will bring that old school marketing into the new media marketing with a call tracking number. Why
Okay.
not add your website?
Mm-hmm.
That would bring that old school ad into the new world. Why not add email? Add
Mm-hmm.
as many things as you can into your old school marketing to help it work better, because it could still work wonderfully for you. So that would be a way to look at your old school marketing and freshen it up if you're not quite ready to give it up. But
Okay.
the real challenge is in measurement, return on investment.
Okay.
That is, I would say today, that is probably what everybody is wants more than anything. They want to know, is the money I'm spending returning back threefold, tenfold, 20-fold back into your coffers, because
Mm-hmm.
everything is so expensive. And back to newspaper advertising, think about how much a small business size card ad is in a local newspaper,
Mm-hmm.
and it is not very targeted, because you in a newspaper, in classified ads, you can actually target much better than you can just display advertising, unless you choose sports. Well, the people I'm trying to reach are people who like sports, so maybe
Mm-hmm.
you're a golf course. That would be a good example of a company who might use the sports section very effectively.
Mm-hmm.
But again, can you measure it? If you can't measure it and figure out if you're making money, then maybe you need to step back from that.
Okay.
Another thing that I know a lot of people, they get caught up in spending money on magazines.
Mm-hmm.
Magazine advertising for some glossy magazines, and I'm talking about local magazines. I've done the research. You're talking about, let's say, $2,500 for an inside front cover, and that's probably conservative
Mm-hmm.
because I'm from a smaller demographic area. But let's say $2,500, even if you're spending $250 to $1,000 for a magazine ad, is that really the best way to spend your money? Because most magazines are for general audiences in a demographic that
Mm-hmm.
maybe they're high end, they're wealthier people, but still, if you were to take that same $2,500
Mm-hmm.
and invest it, let's say, in video marketing,
Mm-hmm.
where you could make your videos and then target them specifically to the exact person who
Mm-hmm.
is your customer, you probably could get a much better return on investment
Mm-hmm.
for your money. But again, I'm not saying stop
Yeah.
doing any old school. I'm saying look at it and really realistically evaluate it. And the big mistake I know is people get bombarded with telephone salesmen trying to sell them everything from newspaper ads, magazine ads, direct mail programs, Google
Mm-hmm.
search, SEO.
Mm-hmm.
If I were to give any business person advice is, before you buy anything from a telephone solicitation,
Mm-hmm.
make sure you know who is calling you and what they're really selling. If somebody calls you on the phone and says, "Hey, I'll do SEO for you for $99 a month,"
Mm-hmm.
the odds are that they're not going to provide you with a true, what I would call a true value
Mm-hmm.
for SEO, because SEO back in the day, what it meant, search engine optimization, it
Mm-hmm.
really was for websites. And it was all about rank your website, rank your website. Well,
Yeah.
today, SEO really does not mean that anymore. It's really about getting ranked in the search engines for your content.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be video, it could be PDFs, it could be articles, it could be press releases, it could be your blog.
Mm-hmm.
It might not even be a website. It even could be, you can get ranked online for your Facebook, your
Yeah.
LinkedIn, your YouTube, Twitter. If you do a search for your own name, and
Mm-hmm.
it's always good to find out what people are saying about you, more than likely what will come up is, if you have a website in your own name,
Mm-hmm.
that would come up first, and then your LinkedIn, your Facebook, and your other assets. And that's another key word that
Mm-hmm.
business people need to start learning: digital assets.
Mm-hmm.
Every platform, every piece of online real estate, let's call it every piece of digital waterfront property,
Mm-hmm.
is valuable to you as a professional and to your company. And if you were to sell your company in the future and you have really good digital assets, your
Mm-hmm.
company is going to be worth more. So,
Mm-hmm.
so that's something that is really important. And that's probably getting off a little bit from traditional media and new media, but that is a really good benefit that people should be aware of.
Okay. So, in regards to that, you're looking at taking some existing old style marketing and then integrating some of the new digital marketing assets, such as a website, a call tracking number, um, going to a social profile, some ways that you can better track. Because one of the things that we've known in marketing is old school marketing used to be more of advertisement versus technically marketing. You would just buy ad space based on their ad sheet to say this is our demographic and our reach, but there was really not a whole lot of ways you can measure it. Well,
Right.
digitally, there are a whole lot of ways now you can measure it. You can measure it and even put them in a funnel based on how many visitors. You can segment those visitors now. How many went, filled out the form, moved to the next step. You can remarket now that they're filled out in the form. One of the strategies I've seen effective, it's a real funny strategy, but I call it business card marketing. You take a business card, instead of putting your contact information in the traditional business card, you take it and make it a walking billboard. You address, first of all, you find out your audience need. You address that need. You give them a benefit statement and a call to action. You push them to something such as your call tracking number or a website. Usually I'll say a website with the contact form that puts them into a mailing list. So now you can remarket to them. But this business card never once says, call Jeff, call, at this number. It says, do you want to grow your business today? Go here, this website. They go
Perfect.
there, they read the copy there, they fill out the form. Now I can remarket to them with autoresponders or emails over and over again until they're ready to make a buying decision. And it's a lot better because a business card usually gets put into that circular file and never looked at again. But that's taking an old way of doing marketing, taking it and bringing it into a new way of doing marketing, and still leveraging both, because you can't just totally be online. Though I
Right.
love to be totally online, realistically, your audience still has an offline presence. So.
Right. Well, that reminds me of a couple things. Mobile, uh, thinking in terms of the ultimate business card, I have two cool ultimate business cards. One is using your mobile device
Mhm.
and having a landing page ready to go, or a call to action where you can actually say, hey, text your name and number into this your name and number into this number with a keyword. Let's say maybe it's a QR code or something, and
Mhm.
they can do that, and then they get put into a, a an autoresponder system directly from their phone. That's
Mhm.
really cool. And then another thing that I have used extremely successfully is have a book.
Mhm.
Books are, I would say, your ultimate business card because it is a way for you to show off your expertise.
Mhm.
And instead of handing them an ordinary business card, you could hand them your book about whatever your business is about. For example, I have a couple books. One is about Pinterest for
Mhm.
local business. So I can hand that book to someone and they can look at it and say, "Oh, Pinterest for business. That's an interesting concept."
Mhm.
Because of course Pinterest is very image based, and
Mhm.
then my other book is 365 social media tips, tricks, and tools,
Oh,
which somebody can like
one
just
a day.
look through it and what exactly
Mhm.
if they did one thing a day in a year, they would have 365 at a minimum pieces of digital waterfront property at
Mhm.
their disposal, and they would have learned something. And the cool thing about it is uh, social media, internet marketing is, we all, the only thing about it is it changes so rapidly every
Yes.
single day. There's something new. And going back to your original question about a challenge,
Mhm.
the biggest challenge for your average CEO or marketing director out there is, how in the world do I keep up with this and still manage my business? Of course, at a CEO level,
Mhm.
you aren't actually doing this work yourself. If you are, you need to give that to someone else, but you at least need to understand the language
Mhm.
of social media and internet marketing so that you can make the decisions about which parts of it should you use and which direction.
Mhm.
Because for example, let's just use a financial manager as somebody who could do very well using a book
Mhm.
and your business card method,
Mhm.
where do you want to learn more about your handling your finances.
Mhm.
That's at the top of my mind because
Don't
I
retire
just
broke.
I
Click
just
here.
got I hired a bookkeeper, and I'm really excited because she's doing all of that stuff that I was like trying to understand how to do bookkeeping. I said, that isn't what I'm good at. I'm really good at this other stuff. And
Yeah.
she's like got it all ready to go, and she's already got it all done for this year. And it's like, whoo, took
Yeah.
her 20 hours. And I'm thinking, think about my 20 hours and her 20 hours. I'd probably still be wading through it.
Yes.
But marketing, with the old traditional marketing, for example, direct mail,
Mhm.
don't direct mail and postcard marketing are still forms of marketing in the old school that can
Mhm.
still be very, very effective, especially when you integrate them with new school. And
Mhm.
again, think about the use of QR codes. And if you're
Mhm.
not familiar with what a QR code is, it's those funny square gobbledygook codes that you'll see at the airport, and you can scan them again with the lovely device, the smartphone. and that's a QR code. So let's say that you put together a direct mail piece, and the post office has the Every Door Direct program, which
Mhm.
is really inexpensive. The last time I checked, I think it was 14 or 15 cents per
Mhm.
piece, and you can target down to a neighborhood or
Mhm.
by zip code. So let's say that you're a restaurant.
Mhm.
That would be a good use of the Every Door campaign. So
Mhm.
you make a postcard, and you can also make some videos.
Mhm.
Videos work really well for food because you can show food and it makes people hungry, and you can show people having a good time. So you have your direct mail piece,
Mhm.
picture of food and maybe your location and a map, and you put a QR code on that and your website and maybe even a phone number or a text to call.
Mhm.
They get it, and it says to get the menu, scan this QR code, or to find out more, scan the QR code. So they can
Mhm.
scan the QR code, and they can go online, look at all these videos of food, go to your website, and excuse me, so there you have turned a postcard
Mhm.
into an interactive mailing piece.
Mhm.
So that is something, to think about. And I bet, because back in the old days, 1 to 2% on a direct mail piece was considered good.
Mhm.
But think about it, if you're able to get people to interact with that postcard or put it up on your refrigerator, because you could say, text your name and number here to join our VIP club to save, to get deals text to
Mhm.
your phone. So, and again, there's the mobile phone. That's a whole other thing that you can do,
Yeah.
is come up with a daily deal program or use your Facebook for deals. I actually had a restaurant that I helped. It was one of my very first clients, and it was May in
Mhm.
Florida. May in Florida is the end of the season.
Mhm.
Nobody's here. If you're lucky, you will have, a few people trickle in. Well, this restaurant asked me to help them, and they didn't have a website. So what I
Mhm.
did is I made them a Facebook page.
Mhm.
I'm sorry for coughing.
Not a problem.
I made them a Facebook page, made some videos of
Mhm.
their food. I made about 5 videos.
Mhm.
And at the time, I did their Google Places, which now would be equivalent to their Google Plus Local.
Mhm.
And I optimized their videos. And within 3 weeks, they had gone from $2,500 a week to
Mhm.
$5,000 a week. So they were thrilled
Wow.
because
Yeah.
they doubled their revenues, and the cost, they weren't paying me that much. In terms of the return on investment, was
Yeah.
humongous.
Yeah.
And they were thrilled because their offer, they got found online. They started out with zero presence. The only
Mhm.
presence they had when I started was a notice, like a legal notice saying that who their business was, a
Okay.
legal notice.
Mhm.
And within 3 weeks, they had 7 pages deep of video, their Facebook. Um,
Wow.
the videos kind of went viral and
Mhm.
got picked up by all kinds of different video services. And
Mhm.
one of the videos, and this takes me into, I just read an article about going from 3-minute videos to 6-second
Mhm.
videos
Yeah.
on Vine. One of their videos is about 10 seconds, and it's a photograph of somebody with a big giant plate of Alaskan crab legs, and they're
Mhm.
cracking them open.
Oh wow.
That thing has had thousands of views.
Wow.
Excuse me.
Interesting. Yeah. That's definitely a innovative strategy. Um, and it's relevant to their target audience because, of course, if you're looking at food videos, what better place to go is than the place that you viewed the few videos from. So very relevant.
and so that's just an example of, again, that integration
Mm-hmm.
of how to do that. And then let's talk about the yellow pages. The people, the funny, okay, I am a late, let's say I'm the end of the boomers
Mm-hmm.
years. Well, I rarely use a yellow page. If
Mm-hmm.
I look things up online, even pizza. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I can order pizza online now. It's
Yeah.
really cool. You just go and you pick out your toppings, and then you can either pay for it online or not, and
Yes.
it can be delivered, or you can go pick it up. So if I get pizza, I go online and I put my order together, and it shows you all the specials, and you don't have
Mm-hmm.
to go through the hanging on the phone and hoping that they answer it, scenario, because it goes automatically.
Mm-hmm.
But think about the yellow pages, for example, and if you many wait, who pays for yellow pages? Typically, you'll see attorneys, plumbers, air conditioning. Those are the ones that I have a tendency to see on the front and back covers with a yellow page ad. And then there's all kinds of other people. And think about it, people always try to say, oh, well, my demographic are older people. What is older?
Mm-hmm.
We all age every single day and year.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, I'm surprised that I'm 5 years older today than I was 5 years ago. It's shocking to me. And
Mm-hmm.
but think about it. What does that mean, older? The fastest growing demographic on Facebook is women 35 to 65. Pinterest, 80% women 35 to
Mm-hmm.
65. My dad is 87.
Mm-hmm.
He's on Facebook. He uses
Wow.
the computer for the stock market.
Okay.
Think about, it isn't social media. People use computers for search.
Mm-hmm.
Think about if you're in, let's say, the home health care or senior care, and
Mm-hmm.
you're saying, well, my demographic is older people. You're not thinking correctly, because people, even if they're not using the computers themselves,
Mm-hmm.
the people helping them are going to be their children,
Mm-hmm.
their grandchildren, or even great
Mm-hmm.
grandchildren. So you could have someone in their 70s or 80s or 90s
Mm-hmm.
who are being helped by people in their 20s to their, let's say, 60s or 70s, who are
Yeah.
very savvy
Mm-hmm.
with what's going online. So if you're going to spend money in yellow pages, again, the first thing I would do is I would evaluate, am I getting anything from the money that
Mm-hmm.
I'm spending in yellow pages? If so, I would say, okay, click, keep it,
Mm-hmm.
but look at your message and make sure that you include your website,
Mm-hmm.
a tracking phone number so that
Mm-hmm.
you know that it came from your yellow pages.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure that I include my social media so somebody can go check me out on LinkedIn, or
Mm-hmm.
if I'm a service provider, maybe I have a Yelp or an Angie's List or something.
Yeah.
Again, reputation, that's a whole nother conversation,
Mm-hmm.
reputation marketing, but it's very real.
Mm-hmm.
Reviews are very, very important, both online and offline,
Mm-hmm.
and business people need to understand that they need to not only get those testimonials in writing, they need to get them on video, they
Yes.
need to get them recorded, they need to
Mm-hmm.
get them online and
Mm-hmm.
submitted to Yelp and Merchant Circle and Health Grades, or
Yeah.
all of the different places, because people do rely on word of mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And in the real world, word of mouth used to be, my dad used to go to the cafe
Mm-hmm.
for a coffee break, and it was amazing the people that he used to talk about when he'd come home. It'd be like the school superintendent, the police chief,
Mm-hmm.
um, the dentists, the doctors, the
Hmm.
lawyers. My dad knew them all,
Hmm.
and that was them hanging out, having a cup of coffee and whatever, a piece of pie at the cafe,
Hmm.
maybe from 10 to 10:15, and then again at 3 to 3:15. When people used to take the formal breaks
Yes.
at the local cafe because you could walk to it from your office in the small town that I lived in, and now the same thing is happening in groups on Skype, on
Hmm.
Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. People now from all over the world can go
Yes.
hang out in a group, and they might be going there and hanging out during a specific time, but more than likely they're just kind of during the course of the day when
Yeah.
they have time, they might drop in, click a button, like, or
Hmm.
say what's going on. But
Yes.
that's our word of mouth
Yes,
now.
it's now global. It's definitely gone global from the normal. So that's something to consider. Well, we're coming up on the hour,
Oh,
so
okay.
I have to conclude because I have another meeting actually to go in. Um, you have given more than a strategy. You've actually given several. So this has been the bonus round for the
Oh,
marketing
okay.
strategy session. Tell everyone how they can contact you because, as you can see, she is very knowledgeable, a big source of information and strategies as well as resources. So, give them a way that they can contact you and they can
Okay, great.
learn one on one.
Okay, I have a website. It is tammypatzer.com. My name is TAMIPATZER.com. If you go there, you'll find I have tons of free content, free webinars I've done talking about business, talking about books, talking about becoming an expert. You can also check me out on Facebook, and that's under Tamara Patzer, TAMARA PATZER. And if you just type my name into a Google, you can find all kinds of things about me. And of
Okay.
course, you can find me on LinkedIn.
Hmm.
Um, LinkedIn, Tamara Patzer there. And if you would like to call me, and I probably shouldn't do this, but I do still answer my phone, and it's 941, area code 941-421-6563. And if you'd like to call me, we could set up an appointment at another time to talk for 15 minutes or so, and we can see if I can help you in any way.
Great, great. And I hate to cut this short, so
That's
maybe
fine.
we'll do a follow up and have another session.
Great.
Because, like I said, restaurants, you have a tip because she's giving you a tip. She's giving small businesses a tip. Who else have we given a tip to? Yellow
Um,
page users,
uh, Attorneys, AC
attorneys. Yeah,
people, plumbers,
yeah.
really
So, it,
anything I talked about today, it can be applied to any business, large or small. That I think that's the biggest takeaway. If I were to say all of the tips I've talked about today can be applied to your business, and you could be a small mom and pop shop, you could have a multi-million dollar global company, and you could benefit your company and grow your company many times over with some of the strategies. Just one of the strategies, think about if you multiply the strategies and tactics, what you could do for growth of your business. It would be phenomenal if you
yes.
use them.
And remember, she has actually a book that gives you 365 to start.
Right.
So,
You can find that. My books are on Amazon. Really. So again, just look up my name and you'll find lots of information out there that is all very usable and accessible. And if you again reach out to me, I'm more than happy to talk to anyone if you'd like to reach out.
Great. Well, once again, thank you, Tammy, and thank everyone for chiming in on the marketing strategy session. Once again, we are hopefully bringing you value, and we'll be bringing you more.
Thanks a lot. I really appreciate it.